And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? I don't know what everybody's been up to. I know the meta's kind of slow. Just to quickly do a my week thing, I'm not really playing a lot of ladder. I'm kind of playing just whenever I can get a chance with my busy work schedule and diet routine and stuff. I think I'm Diamond 4 full stars, so almost Diamond 3. I might not get Legend this month, and I really don't mind that because the new set comes out on the 3rd, so I'll make up that 9x star with just playing a lot for the first month. So um, other than that, there has been a lot of drama, which we will be talking about. I say drama. There's a very important issue going on with Blizzard games that we will be talking about. I'm sorry for using the word drama, uh, because it's very important and shouldn't be taken lightly. But we will talk about that at the top of our news. How's your week been, Avantis? I know it's been pretty crazy for you.
Yeah, no, had a lot going on this week. Got all my weeklies and my dailies are all caught up. I've been playing quite a bit of Battlegrounds this week, having pretty good success so far. Um, Having a lot of fun with that. Season 24 of Diablo started yesterday, not even 24 hours ago now. So there's that. And just Pokemon Unite dropped this week. So been
Yeah,
playing some of that. Uh,
yeah. And Matt at Arms already chimed up in our Discord that when are we rebranding Hero Power to Aeon Dunk? That is a great idea,
that
actually.
is a pretty good idea. Yeah.
So yes. No, don't anybody steal that idea from us.
So
Uh,
yeah, so it's been a busy week. Wife ended up back in the hospital, but she's doing all right now. She's home, and we're like you said. There's a lot to talk about this week, and then we've got the next part of our card reveal going on tonight as well. So we're gonna get through the news, and then we're going to start looking at some Unite in Stormwind cards.
and before we get into the top of the news, which is obviously the elephant in the room, the state of California versus Blizzard Entertainment, I want to give a kind of a statement for the show and myself specifically is we support everybody who is taking a stand against uh, Blizzard right now, but we also respect everybody's decision on how they're taking their stands. Personally, we are going to continue reporting on Hearthstone. And I don't see any reason to change that because we don't report on Hearthstone because we love the corporate entity that is Blizzard. We report on Hearthstone because we love the game, the developers behind the game, and the community that comes with it. And we want to foster that community and hope that a better situations happen for the workers. But if you want to go into the exact details of this news, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this week, after a 2-year investigation, the state of California has launched uh, a lawsuit over unequal pay and sexual harassment and other potential violations of the state's equal pay laws. It says a complaint filed by the State Department of Fair Employment and Housing this past Wednesday alleged that Activision Blizzard fostered a sexist culture where women were paid less than men and subjected to ongoing sexual harassment, including groping. So officials at the company knew about the harassment, not only failed to stop it, but retaliated against women who spoke up, the complaint also alleges. Now, uh, for me personally, I want to make a statement similar to what Zerotio said. Um, this is one of those situations where it it is all about the people, the
Yes.
people involved. You know, I read a thing this week that said, it really struck me. It said, don't speak up for the companies, speak up for the people. There are amazing and wonderful people who are in not good situations and need support right now. And that's what we need to focus on.
Yes.
And that really struck a chord with me because, as Zerotio said, we don't do this because we like Blizzard or we love what Blizzard and what Activision are as corporations, but we have a lot of friends that we have made over the years who currently are employed at Blizzard, and
Yeah.
they're people we want to see do well. Sir Slim, Cora, Alec Dawson, you've got
Josh
Chalky,
Augustine.
Josh Augustine, who's on the
Liv
the World of
Breeden.
Warcraft team. There, yeah, we know a lot of really good people,
Yeah.
and there are Blizzard is full of really good people doing good things, and it's important to remember those people in this time because they are catching the brunt of this because of a few bad actors. And
That's true. That's true.
what really needs to happen is they need to root out who those bad actors are and bring Blizzard back to, or create a environment that fosters creativity and equal rights and pay and makes it the best possible place it could be.
Yeah.
Scott Johnson actually said on Twitter that it's time to figure out how we can do better and how we can make what we love better. And
Mhm.
I could not agree with that statement more.
Now, I will say that there are a lot of people taking stance in different ways, whether that's they're no longer reporting on Blizzard products or they're no longer buying any Blizzard products. I fully 100% support that way of taking a stance. Personally, I am still going to spend money on the new set and anything that I feel is worth the money. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I know a lot of people want to see Blizzard kind of crumble from this. But the problem is if Blizzard crumbles, that means the people that this lawsuit is trying to help, the devs, Cora, Chalky, the Liv Breeden, Deck Tech, who just recently got hired on, they will, could eventually lose their jobs. If Activision Blizzard takes a financial hit, the way they recover from that is they'll start, laying off or firing employees, and because that's how they cut costs. They did it 2 years ago, and that was a big stink. So, I don't think changing my spending habits fixes the problem. It's keeping awareness of this lawsuit so that the courts can decide a way and intervene a way to fix the work environment for the employees. That's the important part. We need to change how the employees are being treated, and that's not really anything, in my opinion, that we as consumers can do. That's something we just have to promote and foster this investigation and the court hearings and everything to keep moving forward. If we see a tweet that's supporting those efforts, we need to keep retweeting it and support those. If we see people speaking out against the injustices and mistreatment at Blizzard, we need to retweet those and support them. Obviously, any way you want to take a stance against this injustice that's happening to the Blizzard employees, I support it, and you really should keep doing that. But personally, for me, I'm excited about this next set. I'm excited about what the employees are doing to create a good game, and I hope the best for them through this whole situation, because it's tough. It's tough to be in a tough working situation. Um, and there's a lot of people that have spoken out in this investigation, and a lot of people that have spoken out since the investigation. I believe it was Joe Mag, who used to be with Team 5, said in a tweet, the fish rots from the head.
That's exactly right. And I mean,
So,
this is, the statements we've seen from Activision Blizzard so far have been deflectionary
yeah.
and not. They've been PR stunts. Now, somebody brought up the Blitzchung uh, uh, controversy from a couple years ago. So there's a major difference here. Blitzchung was all bad PR for Blizzard. This is bad PR, but this is also a criminal investigation. The difference here is somebody is probably going to go to jail at the end of this. We don't know who or what. That's for the courts to decide. But Blizzard Activision is not helping themselves with these deflectionary statements and saying, having a 4-month VP come out and state, well, none of this is true and it's all a bunch of lies. That does not make them look any better. And so we're going to have to let this play out in the courts. In this country, contrary to cancel culture, in the court system, you are still innocent until proven guilty. But the state of California would not have brought this lawsuit after a 2-year investigation if they did not have a mountain of evidence.
Yeah, and this is a lawsuit brought in by the state, not by some firm that is representing a civil case or even a case being pushed to criminal by complaints by employees. This is a state pushed, of course, by complaints by employees, but it's a state pushed lawsuit, so it's going to be taken seriously.
Yes,
because the state is going to make sure. Now, there have been some threats against the state that Blizzard's going to move their campus out of California. Whatever they feel they got to do to make things better, whatever. But that's not going to stop this investigation.
Nope.
They can't move out of the state and all of a sudden the trial's not going to happen. It's going to happen. Now this trial could happen 2 years from now.
Why threaten? You want to move to a more sexual harassment friendly state? Is that what you're saying, Blizzard? I mean, come on. This is a silly threat. If you're going to move out of the state, it's not going to do you any good if you're continuing to foster this type of environment. It doesn't matter what state you go to in these United States.
There is a lot of negative with how Blizzard has responded. Jay Allenbrack did send an internal email that got leaked out, and there was a lot of really good stuff in that. He's showing an effort to meet with with everybody in the company and talk about their experiences. And he also gave an external hotline for everyone to contact that's not going through Blizzard or Activision HR. Obviously, he's backpedaling and he's trying to save face. And he's got a lot in these reports that he could lose his job or even get found guilty, get jail time or a fine or anything. So obviously, he is trying to repair the damages. So I'm not saying what he's doing is good necessarily. It's necessary for him, but there is some good that can come of it. Ultimately, what I would like to see is the state intervene and the courts intervene to force Blizzard Activision to set policies that are good for the employees and the workers, specifically minorities and those of non-binary, genders and women specifically. Those are the categories that need the most attention. and highlighting women because women have had a history of being mistreated. We did see that Cora did make a tweet saying that she hasn't seen these kind of things, but she's only been there for a short time, and she also admitted that they are likely things that have happened. She just hasn't seen them. So that shows that recent events have been good. We just have to make sure that they stay that way. And this frat boy mentality that the state of California is labeling these needs to go away. It's archaic. It doesn't need to exist in the workplace. It really doesn't need to exist anywhere, to be honest.
And it's important to note that this is not just a Blizzard problem. This is inherent across multiple industries, multiple businesses. You know, if you say this doesn't happen at my job, it's just because you're not aware of it. This happens everywhere all the time, and as human beings, we need to do better.
Yeah, and you know, I've heard some people say, well, the smaller gaming studios don't have this problem. Yeah, but that's probably because the majority of the smaller gaming studios are all men, and they don't have diversity in their workplace. So you don't hear about these reports because they may only have one or two female employees, and that also needs to change. We're in a world now that you go to these college courses for graphic design and game development, and these classrooms are filled with both males and females are just as good in this industry as males are. There's no reason they need to be passed on us for these jobs. So there needs to be, that's the one good thing that I see. I say good thing. A silver lining is the reason we're having this issue with Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, is because Activision Blizzard has been diverse in their hiring. They've made sure to hire people of male and female and non-binary gender and you know, LGBTQ and communities and different ethnic communities and races. So that's a good thing. But when you have an environment like that, these type of things come up, and they just need to be fixed. And exactly. I want to kind of wrap this up so we can get to the Hearthstone news. But long story short, we're still going to speak on Hearthstone. We are also taking a stance to support the workers, and we hope that this trial, this investigation goes on, continues on, and the state of California and the court system in California does what's right, or federal, if it has to go that far, does what's right for the Blizzard Activision employees.
Absolutely. All right, so that brings us to our patch 20.8.2 news. So there were some standard balance updates recently. You guys may have noticed some changes. We're going to talk about a couple of those cards. First up is Apotheosis. Apotheosis was a 3-mana give a minion +2/+3 and lifesteal holy spell for priest. It is now 3 mana, give a minion +1/+2 and lifesteal. I don't know about you, Zerotio, but this card has not seen any less play since the nerf from +2/+3 to +1/+2. It is still getting jammed on creatures.
That's true. So I played against a priest today, and this card was played, and multiple copies of it because I kept discovering copies of it.
Yep.
But it doesn't have the impact. They played it on Samuro, and they had to play 2 Apotheoses on 1 Samuro to clear my board.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't enough damage. And sure, they got the heals, but that's a lot to invest into a minion that, you know, just to clear the board. I like this change. I think it doesn't kill Priest, but it also makes priest a little easier to deal with, and you don't have that huge swing again. They were calling, I think Ridiculous Hat called it Samarino. It's the Samuro because you would clear the board and just heal all the way to full. So I like this change, and it really, yes, it's being played, but it's not as impactful as it was.
Next up, we're seeing a change to the priest spell Renew. It was 1 mana, restore 3 health, discover a spell. It's now 2 mana, restore 3 health, discover a spell. Again, not seeing this card being played any less. I'm still seeing it played, and I'm still seeing multiple copies of it played.
I'm seeing it played less specifically because it can't be pulled off a wand maker. That's the most important change to this. Some people have said that maybe it needed to be bumped up to heal for 4 health, or even some people said 5 health. I'd probably even be fine with that. The big thing is, the most important in my mind is that it's not discoverable off of wand maker.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Next up, we have a change to Gibberling. It was a 1 mana 1/1 with Spell Burst, summon a Gibberling. Now it's going to be a 2 mana 1/1. So the mana cost went up 1 point. Now, I never really played this card much, but Zerotio, I know the kind of Druid degenerate you are. Tell us what your thoughts are on this change.
I love this card in Libram Paladin. Is really, really good in Libram Paladin. Because you would get it off first day of school. And then throw Librams on it.
Yeah.
So, to me, and again, I'm a Paladin main, the most impactful on this is it is a non-Paladin class card that is taken out of the first day of school pool. And that kind of weakens first day of school even more. So... I mean, being able to have Gibberling off of first day of school and then throw Libram Wisdom on it was just sick. But that being said, I think this was a change for the new set coming out.
Okay.
Because I know they said they want to cut down the amount of non-games, and there were times that I played Gibberling in Druid, and turn 1 I had a board full of Gibberlings and my opponents basically conceded on turn 2, and that feels really bad. So I understand why they made this change.
Okay. So overall, do you think these three changes in this patch had any effect whatsoever on the standard meta?
Yeah, you're seeing less priest. I don't think the Druid change really did anything. There weren't a lot of people playing that spell Druid or putting Gibberlings in play that often. There's better Druid decks out there, specifically the Circus Druid, the Circus Clown Druid is real popular.
So where are you on the ladder right now?
I'm a Diamond 4.
Okay, since I'm in Gold, I'm about Gold 6, and I'm still seeing Priest pretty heavily.
I'm seeing Priest very spotty. I'm playing Warlock, so I don't have a problem with Priest now.
That's what I've been playing, is Warlock.
But I've been playing against a lot of Druid, but not with Gibberling. They're playing it's the circus clown Druid.
Yeah.
So obviously this didn't hit that, but there is still people playing Priest, but it's not as degenerate as it was.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm really excited to see where Priest is going to go with the new set.
Yeah. I think we talked about this in the last episode we did when we had just a few cards, but the possibility of a legit Shadow Priest is looming, and that's kind of exciting.
It is exciting. Now, since we're obviously going to be transitioning into our card review here shortly, couple things. They stopped doing the card reviews in the U.S. at least. There's been a few card reveals outside of the country, mainly in the Asia Pacific, that have still dropped. But Ali Straza, Trump, Lieutenant Eddie, and even the official Play Hearthstone Twitter account decided not to do their card reveals as a show of solidarity for the state of California versus Blizzard Entertainment. And we very much support that. We are going to be showing the cards that were revealed up until they stopped, and then a couple of the Asia Pacifics that dropped. And then the card reveal stream, the final dump is like what we usually call it, was originally scheduled for Tuesday the 27th. It's been moved up to Monday the 26th.
That's right. That means it's going to be a much bigger final dump than we're normally used to.
Yes, because we're going to be missing all the reveals. He's cracking a grin of big dump. We're going to miss all the reveals that got held off because of this movement, the solidarity movement, and then we're going to have all the cards that are going to be in the reveal, and then all the card dumps that happen afterwards. So next week we're probably not going to be reporting on a lot of news unless it's very important to talk about. We're going to get right into the card reviews because we'll have a lot of cards to talk about next week.
That's right. So we've got quite a few cards to talk about this week. So if you are joining us on YouTube, we are going to transition into that live slideshow review. If you are listening to the audio podcast, know that we are going to continue on like we do so that you can listen to our reviews. If you do want to get the full effect and be able to see the cards as we talk about them, you can check out our video cast at heropowerhs.com or on our YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers. So without further ado, let's jump right into this.
Yes.
So, all right. First up, Hunter. And we have a rare minion, the Persistent Peddler. I did say Demon Hunter, didn't I? Or did I say Hunter?
I think you said Hunter, but it's a Demon Hunter rare minion.
Demon Hunter rare minion, the Persistent Peddler. 4 mana, 4/3, and it's tradable. If you guys remember from past episodes, we've talked about this. If you have a card in your hand that's tradable, you can drag it to your deck, pay 1 mana, shuffle it back into your deck, and draw another card. And then it also has Death Rattle, summon a Persistent Peddler from your deck. So if you have 2 copies or more than 2 copies, when it dies, it replaces itself. That's pretty good value.
Yeah, so what I like about it, I've been kind of all over the place with this card because I'm like, wow, this is kind of trash because if you draw the other one and then nothing happens, or you'll get the Death Rattle off the first one, but the second one nothing happens. And in Demon Hunter, there's not a lot of ways to shuffle additional minions into your deck that we know of right now. But this is kind of like the new Demon Hunter Death Rattle minions we got in the last set, where it takes a minion out of your hand and puts it in play. So you can play this, and when it dies, it pulls another. It basically pulls another copy of itself. It's almost like it Death Rattle, brings it back. And if you happen to draw the other Persistent Peddler, you just pay a mana and put it back into your deck.
Exactly.
That's the part I like. Now the second one that dies basically might as well not have the Death Rattle on it. So that's kind of a waste. But if you're just wanting that constant board pressure of Death Rattle Demon Hunter, this is a good card. Solid.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Demon Hunter Legendary, Jace Darkweaver. So he's an 8 mana, 7/5, Battle Cry, cast all fail spells that you've played this game. They target enemies if possible. So we've seen other cards that play that when you play them, cast spells that you've played this game, or cast a certain amount of spells you played this game. This falls right into that same category, except it's for Demon Hunter, which is really kind of cool. What do you think?
I really like this. Now, one of the biggest problems with cards like this is if you can do a lot of face damage. And with the Fell school, you're not going to see a lot of face damage in Demon Hunter, but you are going to see a lot of attack buff. The 1 mana spell Fury, that's the rank spell, that gives you attack buffs. You have Chaos Strike, gives you attack buffs. Metamorphosis changes your hero power to 1 mana, deal 4 damage. So you could actually build up a pretty substantial amount of damage or an amount of attack buffs to be able to go face. With Fury, you get, I think it's +4 for the rank 3. Yeah, it's +4 attack rank 3. And Fury can be found off of Wand Maker.
Yep.
So you could get multiple Furies, maybe 3 or 4 Furies in a game. And then Chaos Strike will draw you a card and give you +2 attack. And then the Metamorphosis, if you played a Metamorphosis that game, you'll get another copy. You'll get that hero power back. So there are a lot of damage-based, not direct damage, but damage-based Fell spells that you could kind of amass almost like an OTK.
And the thing with this is, it's not casting random Fell spells. It's casting the Fell spells that you chose to put in the deck and play. So you can really fine-tune this to be a damage machine.
Yes, and the only problem I find with it is it's an 8 mana. So what other 8 mana minion is usually in decks like that? Inquisitor.
Yep.
Do you take an Inquisitor out for Jace? Do you add Jace and have 3 8 cost minions to kind of cloud up your deck? I don't know. I don't know the best way. There's going to be some deck building restrictions with this that is going to be really interesting to try to pull off. My biggest question is what do we have in this set with Fell? Because right now, with the new set United and Stormwind, we've only seen 2 Demon Hunter cards, and we just showed them both.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other Fell spells are we going to see that could be damage-based? I'm excited. Yeah. Depending what other spells are in this set for Fell and Demon Hunter will depend whether Jace gets played over Inquisitor.
All right. Moving on to Druid, we now have a Druid spell. It's a common called Best in Shale. 6 mana, tradable, summon 2/7 turtles with taunt. So I don't know. Is 2/7 turtles with taunt worth 6 mana, Zerotio?
I think it is. What was that? That 6 was a 6 mana spell that summoned a 1/5 scarab for every minion your opponent had.
Yes. Yeah.
This is better value than that.
You think so? Because the other one, you were getting a 1/5 taunt equal to the number of minions your opponent had. That could totally stop. Here, you're only getting 2 turtles that have +1/+1 and taunt.
Yes, but you can also play Solar Eclipse with this and get 4 for 8 mana.
Okay, fair enough. You could do that.
And Solar Eclipse with that other card doesn't work because it summons all the minions and then it casts a second time and there's no minions. There's no minions
space. Yeah,
because it doesn't summon as many as they have. It equals however many they have.
Right.
So I like this card. Do I think it's like an auto include in most Druid decks? Not necessarily. It could be a top end on a token Druid if you're going if you want to go a strictly spell based Druid, and you're only relying on minions off of spells. This would be good because you can if you get it too early before your curve's ready for it, you just trade it.
That's right. Yeah.
And normally a card like this, you're like, you don't want to put this in token Druid because what if you draw it early? It really messes up your curve. Well, you just trade it.
Yep.
So I like it in like a token Druid. I don't think it necessarily goes into any of the other existing Druids we have now. Now there might be this kind of weird beast Druid that you want to have specific beasts in your deck, but you also want synergies with beasts in play, and this creates beasts. So it's possible that it goes in a deck like that, but that deck's not doesn't exist right now.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have two rare Druid cards. First up, we have Park Panther. It is a rare beast minion, 4 mana, 4/4, rush. Whenever this attacks, give your hero +3 attack this turn. So this reminds me a lot of the other Panther or the other cat. I forget what it's called. It's the 5/4 that's stealthed, and when it attacks, draws a card. Only this,
Kinda.
yeah, this has rush and gives your hero +3 attack, and it's a 4 mana 4/4. I think this card's pretty good.
It's great because in Druid, when you're dealing with like a tempo style Druid, you're gonna want to trade into like a 3/4 or a 2/4 taunt or something like that they played on 3, and then you can trade into that and then be able to trade into another smaller minion they have on the board. And so you kind of get a 2-for-1 with this. You can clear 2 minions with 1 card, and that's perfect for tempo.
Yeah, yeah. The other is a rare spell, the Kodo Mount. So it's a 4 mana, give a minion +4/+2, and rush. When it dies, summon a Kodo.
And that Kodo is a 4/2 beast with rush.
That is correct.
So a lot of people are saying this is like Druid's version of the what was it Restless Mummy.
Okay. Yeah, the warrior minion.
Yeah, 4 mana 3/2 with rush, but it had reborn, so you could trade in twice.
Yes.
So you throw this on a small minion, could be a token minion, could be a gibberling, and then trade in that minion, and then you get another minion that can trade in. Again, there's a lot of these Druid tools are a lot of 2-for-1s. It's almost like they want you to make like a tempo based
in that theory or that situation you just threw out there. That 1/1 could now take out a 9 health minion.
Good.
So
of course, that early in the game, you're not going to see a 9 health, but
right.
This new kind of tempo tokeny Druid is, beast synergies might be the way to go. And there's some other tools later on that foster that even more. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, moving on, we have a Druid Epic minion, the Oracle of Elune. She's a 3 mana 2/4. After you play a minion that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of it. Oh god, didn't we just talk about gibberlings? They could be everywhere.
You could. Of course, there's better ways to copy your gibberlings, so I wouldn't use this with gibberlings. This is it's going to be very dependent on what kind of minions. You're going to want to copy Death Rattle minions. There's one later we'll talk about at length that is going to be copied that will probably make that a deck in Druid. And I like Oracle of Elune. The fact that you can play 2 of these, I would almost expect an effect like this to be on a legendary minion. Because this enables some combos that I wouldn't expect to be able to put a 2 of a combo activator in this deck. So I like Oracle of Elune. I don't think it's amazing, but I think in a specific deck, a combo deck, which we're seeing a lot of combo tools this set, not necessarily OTK combos, but like combos to set up getting really far ahead in the game. And Oracle Elune is part of that, and I'm excited for this set. It's just these type of cards are fun.
Okay. Now we have a Druid Legendary, Sheldris Moontree. He's an 8 mana 5/5 battle cry. The next 3 spells you draw are cast when drawn. So you don't draw them immediately, but the next 3 spells that you do draw will auto cast as soon as you draw them. And I love Regis referred to this guy as Druid Santa. He has a
Yes.
big, like, pink and blue beard, and he's just giving out free spells.
Yeah, well, not necessarily free spells because obviously you have to have those in your deck, but they don't use their mana. So meaning if you draw Survival of the Fittest, it casts Survival of the Fittest, a 10 mana spell, and then draws you another card because that's what Cast Withdrawal does. And if it draws you another spell, it's going to do it again, and then it's going to do it again. And it doesn't have to be that turn. It's just any other time after this is played.
Could you imagine drawing into Best in Shale, followed by Survival of the Fittest?
Yeah, I mean that'd be pretty good. I don't know if this goes in a Celestial Alignment deck, but Celestial Alignment cast when drawn is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you can kind of plan that to happen on your opponent's turn, it really throws them off and then gives you the first opportunity to play spells, play one mana cards. So again, I don't think this goes in an existing deck to make it even better. There's a deck out there that somebody's going to figure out within the first couple weeks, and I'm excited to see because this card looks fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up we have the Druid Legendary quest line, Lost in the Park. So it's 1 mana, quest line, gain 4 attack with your hero, reward, gain 5 armor. So gain 4 attack, gains you 5 armor. Then it becomes Protect the Squirrels. Gain 5 attack with your hero, gain 5 armor, and draw a card.
And one thing to note, some of these names might not be accurate because these are translations.
Okay. So. And then the third leg of the quest line is we have here is Friendship Fury. Quest line gains 6 attack with your hero. Reward Guff the Tough. So Guff the Tough. So far, all of these questline rewards we've seen have been 5 mana 7/7 minions until now. We're showing Guff as being a 5 mana 8/8 with Taunt and Battle Cry. Give your hero +8 attack and 8 armor this turn.
So this deck doesn't exist. I think this makes a deck with a very aggressive style, and it uses a lot of your attack buff cards, whether they be minions that buff your attack or spells that buff your attack. And the armor gained is just to help you sustain so that you don't get swung back by a faster aggro deck.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a very slow aggro deck that you put tools in to make sure taunts don't get in your way, maybe some silences, things like that. But ultimately, you're going to want to be shipping most of this attack damage face. And then you have basically an Inquisitor in Guff, where you play Guff and you get 8 damage you can send to face.
Yep, that's true.
I don't think it's could be terribly uncommon to possibly pull this off on turn 5 or 6 and get a lethal.
Wow. It'll be interesting to see. This is one of the quest lines so far that I'm really interested in checking out a little more.
It's different.
It is.
A lot of these other quest lines so far have been very combo, kind of control-y, game-ending type of effects on the final reward. And this one's not quite there.
Yeah.
It's you don't get a permanent game effect or anything. You get a one-time 8 attack, 8 health. And I like it.
Yeah, me too.
It's a different type of druid.
All right, moving on. We are now at Hunter, and we've got 2 Hunter epics. First up is a epic spell, Rats of Extraordinary Size. It's a 6-mana spell. Summon 7/1/1 rats. Okay. 6-mana spell. Summon 7/1/1 rats. Any that cannot fit on the battlefield go to your hand with +4/+4. So you're really rewarded for playing this card with an almost full board because you're going to get 5/5 rats in your hand that cost 1 mana each.
Yes. Yeah. Now they don't have rush.
No.
But there's ways to work around that. I mean, there's animated broomstick and other ways to give your beast rush. This, I worry it's too slow because they don't have rush, and you're basically just giving yourself more. It's kind of like the Caverns Below quest for Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Where you had to kind of do some suboptimal things, and then all of a sudden you had 1 mana 5/5s.
Yes.
Like a handful of 1 mana 5/5s. And you just outpaced your opponent by just filling up the board with 5/5s, and there was nothing they could do about it because they couldn't keep up with you. This is similar without as much early investment and not as much permanent kind of effect. You only get as many 1/1s. The problem is if you're ahead and you have a board full of minions, this pushes you ahead further. But if you're behind and you have no minions on the board, you just get a bunch of 1/1s. So
yeah.
This card works better when you're ahead and works a lot worse when you're behind.
Right. It's kind of what Versinka used to call a win more card.
I'm not a big fan of the win more statements because there are some cards like Survival of the Fittest is a win more card. But it usually wins more by causing lethal or giving you lethal 4 turns before it should. So, but yes, it would be a win more card.
Yeah. And then we have an epic beast minion, the Imported Tarantula. This is a 5-mana 4/5. It is tradable and has Death Rattle. Summon 2 1/1 spiders with Poisonous and Rush.
This is interesting. Because if your opponent clears this, they have to clear the 1/1s with Poisonous and Rush. Or if they don't clear this, then you can trade into something and have Poisonous Rush minions to just kill anything. Or you can just keep going face with the threat of a 4/5 on the board. I like it. And the fact that it's tradable can put it into an aggressive style hunter. If you don't need it, you just trade it. And one thing to note, it doesn't have rush, so you can't play it, rush in, and then have the rush minions. So
correct.
You kind of have to. It's on turn 5. You're almost passing the turn because you're developing a 4/5 that doesn't really impact the board to make sure that your turn 6 is a better turn, which is those turns in control matchups where they put the big taunts in the way or they develop a big board on turn 6. And if you have this on the board already, that they have to think about that. Yeah. So I like it. It's good. It's a good beast. I know beast is kind of a hunter thing, but there hasn't been really a good quote unquote beast hunter in recent times, and this might encourage that.
Yeah. Next up, we have a hunter legendary, the Rat King. So it is a 5-mana beast minion. It is 5 attack, 5 health, rush, death rattle, go dormant, revive after 5 friendly minions die. What are your thoughts?
I wish this was 4 mana. And I know people are going to say, what? You want a 4 mana 5/5 with this effect? I don't want this off Jandis.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think
And I don't want
that.
this off the new Shaman card we're going to be talking about later.
I did not think about getting this off Jandis. Yeah.
I don't want to see my opponents get this off Jandis. It's this. I think the Rat King is low key one of the best class legendary minions so far.
And the artwork's not bad.
The artwork's amazing.
Yeah.
But the fact that it has rush means it can trade, and then you can trade other minions after you trade this, revive it, and then it trades again.
Mm.
I don't. This kind of fosters a control or mid-rangey tempo hunter,
Yep.
which we haven't seen a good one in a very long time. Usually they're very aggressive, but maybe mid-range hunter comes back and you use this to get better value, and then just constantly have a 5/5 on the board
Yep.
that they can't deal with.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And God forbid, is Faceless Manipulator still in core? I think it is.
I don't know off the top of my head. That's a good question. Moving on to Paladin, we have two epics. First up is a weapon, Lightbringer's Hammer. It's a 3-mana, 3/2 with lifesteal, but you can't attack heroes with this weapon. What do you think, Zerotio?
I don't understand the caveat I can't attack heroes.
Is it because it's a 3-mana, 3-attack lifesteal, and that would be like a 6-point swing if you attack face?
Yeah, but it's a 3/2. I mean, it's Fire War Axe.
But
It's
Fiery
not.
War Axe doesn't have lifesteal.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. And the fact that it can't swing face, obviously they want it to go into a control style, Librams where you're healing and that kind of stuff. But I think there's better weapons right now. This might be a card that is pivotal to keep Control Paladin viable next year when we lose a lot of these Libram tools and other good weapons. But right now, I just think it's just there's too many good weapons in Paladin to be able to play this.
Yeah. And then we have a epic minion, the first Blade of Ren. It's a 4-mana, 3/3 with Divine Shield, Battle Cry, gain Rush if this has at least 4 attack. So if you can buff this in your hand before you play it, it not only has Divine Shield, but it will also gain Rush.
Or if you have a minion in play that gives +1 attack to your minions.
That's true.
I don't see hand buffing being good, and I think the board buffing we're going to be doing is going to be with Silverhand recruits. So I don't think this is good. I don't think it's going to be played.
Mm-hmm.
But value for stats, a 4-mana 3/5 with Divine Shield is good by itself. So honestly, if it didn't have the Battle Cry, I might still play this.
Okay.
The question is, what other Paladin tools are we going to have? Are they going to push that out of the way once we get more cards? And that I'm not sure of. Just off the value of the Divine Shield, the mana cost, and the stats, I think it's a good solid card you'll want to put in your tempo based Paladins. Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have the Paladin Legendary Quest line, Rise to the Occasion. So, of course, it's a 1-mana quest line. Play 3 different 1-cost cards. So, not just minions, but cards.
And they have to be different. Like, you can't play 2 Penflingers to activate this step of the quest line.
So, play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, equip a 1/4 Lights Justice. So, I mean, you could theoretically complete this by turn 2 if you have the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can play this on 1, and then the next turn you can play First Day of School and then coin out the other 2 1 costs.
Yeah.
That's possible. You can play Aldor Attendant, and then play a 1 cost, which is reduced, a Libram of Wisdom, and that's 2 parts of the quest. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do this in Paladin.
So
the reward for the first one is kind of weak, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The rewards here vary greatly compared to the other quests, where the other quests are all kind of versions of the previous reward. So if you guys remember the Druid one we just talked about, it was gain 5 armor, and draw a card, gain the hero. Well, now it's equip a 1/4 Light's Justice, and then the second part is called Pave the Way, play 3 different 1-cost cards, reward, upgrade your hero power.
Yeah, which is the 2 mana summon 2 Silverhand recruits.
Yes. And then the third part is Avenge the Fallen, play 3 different 1-cost cards to get Lightborn Cariel. So
now, a reminder, they play 3 different 1-cost cards, cannot be the same ones, but they can be the same ones per step. So on the first step, if you played a Penflinger, you can't do it again for that step. But on the second step, you can do Penflinger as one of the 3. And on the third step, you can do Penflinger as one of the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that then brings us to the reward for the quest, Lightborn Cariel. She's a 5 mana 7/7 battle cry for the rest of the game. Your Silverhand recruits have +2/+2. So now, if you complete this quest all the way through, you're getting 2 3/3 Silverhand recruits for 2 mana.
Yeah, and if you get Lothraxian in there, maybe after you play Lightborn Cariel, then they have Divine Shield.
Yeah. This is good. This is probably my favorite quest so far.
Yeah, and I think a Dude Paladin with the Libram package is going to be the way to play Paladin. And I think we're going to be back in a position where Paladin is sitting towards the top, tier 1, and gets nerfed again. Because the Librams are just good.
Yeah.
And if you give... The problems with Libram Paladin is it's good, but not great with just the Libram package.
Yeah.
So if you give them something else, like a package of cards that's good, that they can combine with Librams, then it becomes great and overpowered.
Yeah.
But you need another package. And in this case, it's possibly the Dude package. And I'm super excited for the Dude package.
Yeah. All right, moving on, we have Priest. We have an epic shadow spell called Call of the Grave. 1 mana, discover a Death Rattle minion. If you have enough mana to play it, trigger its Death Rattle.
Yeah, so this is weird. So basically you pay 1 mana, you discover a Death Rattle. If you have enough mana to play the Death Rattle minion that you discovered, it doesn't spend the mana, but the Death Rattle goes off. So if you had something like the Rat King and you're on 6 mana, does that mean you summon a Rat King? Ooh. And then you also have a Rat King in your hand?
I don't know.
Wait. What am I saying? Discover. It won't discover a hunter.
Right.
Card. Yeah, so that won't matter. Okay.
Not unless you get this card as a hunter somehow.
That's true. That if you got this as a hunter. Okay.
You could discover this card off of Wandmaker.
No. Not as a hunter.
Okay. Well, that's true.
Because it's
class cards.
But there are good Death Rattle minions that are in neutral that when you get their Death Rattle, it can go off. We're going to be talking about Elwyn Bohr later, and it opens up Priest as an Elwyn Bohr situation where you play this late to to try to discover an Elwyn Bohr, and then you can just win the game at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also to note, it's a shadow spell.
it is.
So what this does is it allows you to play this shadow spell in a very shadow heavy deck along with Dark Bishop Benedictus, and then this will give you another minion that you've sacrificed, in the deck building process to have more shadow spells in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, this is a good card.
All right. Next up, we have the Priest Legendary quest line, Seek Guidance.
No, we haven't talked about this one yet. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 1 mana. The quest line is play a 2, 3, and 4 cost card. Your reward is to discover a card from your deck.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is to play a 5 and 6 cost card. The reward, again, discover a card from your deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final part, Illuminate the Void, play a 7 and 8 cost card to give you Xyrella the Sanctified.
Mm-hmm.
So Xyrella the Sanctified is a 5 mana 7/7 taunt minion. Battle cry, shuffle the Purified Shard into your deck. The Purified Shard is a 10 mana spell. Destroy the enemy hero. So
I love this card. I love this card.
That you play this on turn 1. Then you play a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, 8 cost card. Then you play Xyrella. Then you win the game. It is.
Then you play Xyrella.
Crazy.
Then you have to draw the Purified Shard.
Yeah, but by that point, you're going to be low, and you're by the time you play Purified Shard, you're probably only going to have 5 or 6 cards left in your deck anyway.
That's true. Now, so there's a lot of hoops for this card.
There
First
are.
off, the deck building process is going to be really tight because you're going to need to spread out the costs. 7 and 8 cost is really weak in Priest and even in Neutral. There's not really any good control pieces other than Mirror for Priest and 7 cost that is going to help you with this game plan. Also, cards like Palm Reading can ruin your quest because Palm Reading will reduce the cost of spells in your hand, which might make it so you can't complete your quest.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that. Also, if your opponent is playing Druid and plays Celestial Alignment, you now cannot finish your quest.
But wait a minute. Let's talk about what you just said, Palm Reading, and how there's not good 7 or 8 cost cards, but what about 9 cost cards that get reduced to 8?
Not in spells.
Okay.
Yeah, not in spells. Not right now.
Okay.
Which just tells me that this is going to be really, really, really hard to do, and there's lots of ways to counter it. Obviously, you can play Mutinous because there's going to be probably a very spell-heavy, control-heavy deck, and there's not going to be many minions when they actually get Xyrella. So, and because they'll have to have just played an 8-cost card, 7 or 8 cost card, to get Xyrella, they likely can't play Xyrella that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So Mutinous can then be played to try to eat her. Occult Neophyte can be played to keep the Purified Shard at 11 cost. Celestial Alignment can be played to nullify this quest completely, because then everything's 1 cost and the quest can't be completed.
That's true.
There are a lot of roadblocks that can stop this deck, which is why I think it's important that the final reward is basically win the game.
Yeah.
I love win the game cards. I love Mechathune. I love Uther of the Ebon Blade, where you get the 4 horsemen and you just win the game. Win the game cards are my favorite way to play Hearthstone, but I also know they're probably the most difficult decks to try to win with. And this checks all the boxes. Do I think this card is going to be in Masters Tours and Grandmasters? No. I don't think it's going to be competitive. Do I think you're going to hear stories of people running this all the way to Legend? Maybe,
We are going to
but you're
see
probably
we are going to see so many Trollden videos with
oh
this.
yeah, but you're probably not going to see somebody like you know finishing the month at top 100 Legend with this deck.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I love that it exists, and I will likely play this deck, but it's not going to be very competitive.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We are now talking about Rogue, and we have 2 epics. First up is an epic weapon, the Counterfeit Blade. It's a 4-mana, 4/2 weapon, battle cry. Gain a random friendly death rattle that triggered this game. So, death rattle rogue, a death rattle minion dies, you play the Counterfeit Blade, the weapon gains that death rattle.
It's a random one that happened that game. So you're going to need to curate your deck in a specific way that specific death rattles are in it. And you need to play those death rattle minions and kill them off before you play this card. I think it's too many hoops. That means we need really powerful, low-costed death rattles. And low-costed death rattles from 1, 2, and 3 cost minions usually aren't that game-defining. Your death rattles that are game-defining are usually your 7, 8, 9 cost minions. Mm-hmm. And by then, is this just going to be rotting in your hand? I do think there will probably be some kind of crazy deck that makes use of this, but I don't think it'll be competitively viable.
Yeah. Next up, we have an epic spell, Garrote, however you want to say it.
Garrote.
It's a 2-mana, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Shuffle 3 bleeds into your deck that deal 2 more damage when drawn. So this is essentially 8 points of damage at 2 mana, but not all at the same time.
Yeah, so there was a rogue legendary that draw all your cards in your deck that didn't start in your deck. Is that still in standard? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I'm looking up on the website right now. Yes. Grand Empress Shekzara, 6 mana, 5/7 legendary for rogue. Battlecry, discover a card in your deck and draw all copies of it. So that's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
You could play that, and then all of a sudden that's 6 more damage straight to the face. Or if you played this twice, that's 12 damage, and you draw all those cards. So I mean, that's pretty. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, magical Christmas land. Who knows if that'll work out? But maybe you toss in a spell damage minion with that. These are spells.
Yeah.
So maybe with 6 mana, if you're on turn 10, you have 4 mana to play with. Maybe there's some spell damage minions you could toss on the board as well, and then bam, 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 you win the game.
Yeah, I mean, if
you
get your opponent low, and you can sprint or something else that'll draw multiple cards, and then boom, 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 there's additional damage to the face.
The question is that deck going to be better and more consistent and effective than the current, deck that uses Alexstrasza as a win condition? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Moving on, we're now to Shamans. We've got 2 Shaman epics. They're both spells. First up is Overdraft. This is a 1 mana spell. It's tradable. Unlock your overloaded mana crystals to deal that much damage.
And it can go face. Now, one thing to
Yeah.
note, it has no spell school, so it won't benefit from any school increased spell damage like nature, specifically from
Right.
Drakon. But, I mean, this is direct damage that unlocks your mana crystals. Now,
Yeah,
this unlocks any you
that's
currently
good.
have or any for next turn. It was confirmed the most damage it can do without spell damage is 19, which is very hard to pull off. And that would be you having 9 locked mana crystals that turn and 10 for next turn.
Right.
But so that is high. That would have to get multiple copies of Lightning Blooms, and that's something that's probably not going to happen. You might have somebody that makes a combo deck like that, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I do like that they've added unlocking your overload mana crystals, and we don't see a lot of shaman cards yet, but it looks like overload might be a thing, which they've tried before and failed, but they've tried before and failed because they didn't give you ways to work with the unlocking your mana crystals. This might be what you need. Yeah. I do not think if they do an overload shaman shell for a package for shaman, I don't think it's going to be the way to play shaman because of the next card.
Yeah, I agree. And we talked earlier about Rat King being a 5-cost minion. This is another reason why it could be really good. Next up, we have another Shaman epic spell, Tiny Toys. This is a 6-mana spell. Summon 4 random 5-cost minions. Make them 2/2s. That doesn't matter if you summon a Rat King. He dies, he comes back, he's a 5/5.
Yeah, and there's other minions on the board to die along with him. So if he dies and then they die, then that advances his dormant. Also, this is a 6-mana spell that follows right after a 5-mana weapon, Bogspine Knuckles.
Oh, gosh.
So you Bogspine on 5. On 6, you play Tiny Toys and Swing Face, and now you have 4 6-mana minions that are full statted.
Yeah.
Or on 7, you play Tiny Toys and Revolve, and now you have 4 5-cost minions that are fully statted.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's just good.
Evolve Shaman is going to be back, and we're all going to hate it.
All right, next up we have the Shaman legendary Bolnir Hammerbeak. Bolnir Hammerbeak. He is a 2-mana, 1/4. After you play a Battlecry minion, repeat the first Battlecry played this turn. So, I mean, if you play multiple Battlecry minions, it's going to repeat that first Battlecry every single time.
This is an OTK card. I'm calling him Boner because when you see this, you're getting boned. So you play Boner, then you play Lightning Bloom, then you play Yasharaj after you've played Combat Medic and Dunk Tanks. And when you play your Yasharaj, you will get all of your corrupted cards you played that game.
Yep.
At 0 cost. And then you will get it again because that first battle cry still activates Bolner. And so you'll get 2 sets of those cards. So then you just ship all of your Dunk Tank's face, and then you play a Combat Medic for free, which then activates the Yasharaj again. Which gives you all of the you see where we're going here?
Yeah.
This is an OTK, and I'm calling it now. This is when we do our rating sheet, which I've already talked to Ridiculous at. We should have that out pretty soon, probably next week or this week if you're listening to this on download. I mean, it'll have to be after the reveal stream because we don't know all the cards. Yeah. So. But the reveal stream just next week. But the problem is This is going to be the first 6 that I rate. Now,
Mm.
our rating system goes 1 to 5. We only reserve 6 for cards we believe are going to get nerfed. I believe that Bolner gets nerfed probably in the first set of nerfs to 3 mana.
Okay.
At 3 mana, the combo will still be possible, but it won't be a 3-card combo. It'll be a 4-card. You'll need 2 Lightning Blooms.
Gotcha.
You could Bolner, or the way you'd have to do it is you would have to Yasharaj first, then you play the 2 Lightning Blooms and Bolner, and then it would work. Or you could play Bolner, and then the 2 Lightning Blooms will put you up to 10 mana, and then Yasharaj, and you could do it that way. But I think he gets nerfed to 3 mana.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have the Shaman Legendary quest line, Command the Elements. The quest line is play 3 cards with Overload. The reward, unlock your overloaded mana crystals. Okay. That brings in Stir the Stones, which is play 3 cards with Overload, which rewards summon a 3/3 elemental with Taunt. And then that brings in the final part, Tame the Flames, which is play 2 cards with Overload. Reward Stormcaller Brucon. So Stormcaller Brucon is a 5 mana 7/7 battle cry. You ready for this? For the rest of the game, your spells all cast twice.
I don't think this is good. First off, the questline is playing 3 overload cards, not overloading that many mana crystals. So you're going to have to invest a total of 8 cards to get Stormcaller Brucon.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, how many of those cards overload cards that you invested were spells that would have taken advantage from Brucon?
Okay.
So you're really going to have to build your deck with a lot of overload minions instead of spells. So you use minions to unlock. Therefore, you're thinning down the amount of pool of spells you have. Now, the first quest in this unlocks the mana crystals that you overloaded, which is good.
Yes.
But the next 2 lines don't unlock those mana crystals, which is a tempo loss.
Unless you're running that.
That's true. That spell.
That spell that unlocks your mana crystals.
Yeah, the overdraft.
Yeah.
Clearly. But I don't know. I'm not terribly convinced that this is good. I think it might be the worst quest so far.
All right. Next up, we have commons for Warlock. We have a common fail spell called Demonic Assault. It is a 4 mana, deal 3 damage, summon 2 1/3 Voidwalkers with Taunt. So 4 mana, deal 3 damage, summon 2 1/3 Voidwalkers with Taunt. I like it.
I think this card goes to your own face a lot. You pay
to
4
help
mana,
you with the quest line, with the Warlock quest line.
do 3 damage to your own face because it can target any target. Do 3 damage to your own face, putting up 2 taunts to slow down your opponent's minions, and it furthers your quest. I really think this goes towards your own. Or if you have the quest line completed, it's like doing 3 damage to your opponent's face. Oh, anyway, so it doesn't matter if you ship it to their face or. But like if say, and again, this card hasn't really played much, but Rogue has the 3 mana spell that puts your hero in stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you hit your face with this, well, after you have the quest completed, it'll still do damage to that stealth Valera.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this hits your own face. I think it's a good card regardless. It's actually, if Zoo can be a thing again, it would be a good Zoo card because it's a board clear. or finishing damage towards advancing damage towards face, and it puts you 2 good minions on the board that can protect your aggressive statted minions that you want to send face.
Yeah.
So it's very versatile Warlock card. I like it.
Next up, we have a common Warlock minion, the Shady Bartender. It's a 5 mana, 4/4 with tradable and a battle cry. Give your demons +2/+2. I almost feel like we have a Battlegrounds minion creeped into constructed here.
This is Funklemancer, right? And Funklemancer was good?
Funklemancer gave the minions adjacent, not all minions. This gives all demons +2/+2.
So it's better than Funklemancer because it's better statted.
Yeah.
I think this gets played. My first instinct on this was it wasn't good. And then I got to thinking about it. If you have a demon-centric zoo deck,
yeah,
it's a better Funklemancer.
That's true.
So, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a solid card.
Okay. Next up, we have a couple of Warlock rare spells. They're both shadow spells. First up is Touch of the Nathrezim. It's 1 mana. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 4 health to your hero.
And it's shadow.
Yeah.
So Tamsin can give you a second cost of this.
A second copy for 0.
Second copy for 0. I think this is good. I think it's going to be a key support card for that self-damaging questline Warlock.
Uh-huh.
It's a good card. It's solid. It goes. It doesn't even have to be in that deck. It's just a good removal card that heals you. Just good.
Next up, we have Dark Alley Pact. This is a 4 mana. Summon a fiend with stats equal to your hand size. Matt at Arms made it a point to point this out in our Discord. Hand lock is back, baby. You know, by turn 4, a hand lock can have 9 cards in hand. You play this spell, that's an 8/8 fiend on turn 4.
Man at Arms is convinced this is a good card. I am not. I do think a hand style Warlock will rise, and this card will go in it. But as we start to optimize it, it gets cut. It's 4 cost. I think by the time you're playing this and getting an 8/8 or 9/9, you're also going to be down to like 22 health if you do this on turn 4, and that minion doesn't have taunt. I don't think it's as good as a Mountain Giant, but Matt at Arms disagrees with me, and maybe he'll be right. We'll see.
All right, then we have the Warlock Legendary Anethron. Is that how you would say it?
That's how I would say it.
Okay. So it's a 6 mana, 8/6 demon. Costs 1 if your hand is full.
I wish this was an 8/8. I'm guessing there's something in testing that having more than 6 health was a problem, but there's so many ways to deal with this.
Playing an 8/8 on turn 4 or 5 is for 1 mana is probably bad.
An 8/8 on turn 5?
Like you were saying, if he was an 8/8, because you could play this as a handlock who's using your hero power every turn. You could play this on like turn 4 for 1 mana if your hand is
if
full.
you use Backfire, yes, on turn 4. If not Backfire, probably 5 or 6. But the problem is Fireball takes this out. A lot of Rush minions take this out. That 4 mana.
Well, that's probably why he's not an 8/8, because it was just too hard to get rid of that early.
Maybe. I don't think an 8/6 even on turn 5 is going to be that impactful without taunt or any death rattles or anything like that. I mean, we're in a different age than we were when handlock was a thing.
Yeah.
Hearthstone's just so much different now.
Next up, we have Warrior, and we have a rare spell called Shiver Their Timbers. It's a
best name so far, by the way.
It is a 1 mana rare spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If you control a pirate, deal 5 instead. So I just want to say, Blizzard, Team 5, we do not need a repeat of Pirate Warrior.
Okay, so I don't think we're going to have a repeat of Pirate Warrior. I think if we see a Pirate Warrior, it's not going to be the aggressive Pirate Warrior we are accustomed to.
Good.
It's going to be more of a tempo to control style Pirate Warrior that you couple solid minions, not overpowered, but solid minions that are evenly statted, mid-costed, 4, 5, 6 cost pirates that also allow you to couple in some removal. Like you have rush pirates in Anchorman. You have a good solid pirate that you can then use shiver their timbers to remove whatever minion. I don't think we have enough tools for that yet, but we haven't seen all the cards in the set. Maybe there's a lot of pirates, mid-costed pirates. I don't think we need like 1, 2, and even 3-costed pirates, unless the 3-costed pirates are understated with interesting effects. I think if they stay with bottom end 3 with understated and kept them around 4, 5, and 6, that's a good kind of tempo warrior that could use the pirate package, and I think that would be good.
Next up, we have a couple of warrior epics. First up is a epic spell, Provoke. 0 mana, tradable. Choose a friendly minion. Enemy minions attack it. This is good.
I'm trying to find a use case.
You have a minion that has a really high defense. You force all enemy minions to attack it. You can clear a large portion of their board.
Maybe if your minion's large enough.
I think this card is going to really surprise you.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the use cases, but then again, I've been wrong before, so I mean that doesn't surprise me. Do I want to take a slot for removal like that?
0 mana, force your opponent to make bad trades.
Yeah. And now, mind you, if the first minion kills your minion, the rest aren't going to continue to attack them. That's just how it works.
You wouldn't, yeah. So, I mean, you're going to
You can't just do a 1/1 poisonous
but
minion.
You get to choose, you get to choose when this is played, so you're going to have control over that situation. Maybe you trade into something first and then force all the rest of the remaining minions to run into something and clear their board. This is just good control.
It's good on something like a Rattlegore. You play Rattlegore, you play this. If their minions are fairly wide and it's a lot of smaller minions, they all trade into Rattlegore, and then Rattlegore comes back as an 8/8. So, I mean, there are some use cases.
For those of you out there listening, let us know what you think about this spell, Provoke. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Because this is, to me, it looks good as a card, but when I think about building a deck with it, I just don't want to take up that 29th and 30th slot in my deck. And I know tradable has value, but you're spending a mana to draw a card for a card that's free.
So
I don't know.
Next up, we have a epic mech minion, the Remote Control Golem.
And the name may be wrong on this because this one was a translation.
Yeah. So it's a 4 mana 3/6. Whenever this takes damage, shuffle 2 cards into your deck that summon a 2/1 mech when drawn. So basically, you're shuffling 2 spells into your deck that when you draw them, they cast and summon a 2/1 mech.
So this is one of the reasons why I'm not confident we're going to get a Pirate Warrior. we do see some pirate synergy things. I think they're trying to foster a true menagerie warrior because we now have a mech piece. And N'Zoth had its cost reduced down to 9, and we've been seeing N'Zoth in Control Warrior. So maybe they're just trying to give us some extra tools in pirates and mechs and a few other places. But we'll have to see. If there was a full mech package with this, I can see this being good, but I don't think there's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how this might play in Wild when you have magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
With those mechs, they summon the mechs, you throw a magnetic on there and get trades. And
yeah.
I wish the 2/1 mechs had rush, but other than that, I think it's an okay card.
Then we have the Warrior Legendary Lothar. He's a 7 mana 7/7. At the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. If it dies, Lothar gains +3/+3.
I don't think this is better than Troublemaker because if they have a poisonous minion, then
Lothar dies.
Lothar dies. But if they have, say, the 1/3 poisonous minion, and you play Troublemaker, then one of the 3/3s die.
Yep.
But your Troublemaker's still alive. I think Troublemaker's better.
Troublemaker's also a mana cost more.
It is, and more stats to boot. I don't think Lothar's good. I think if it had Divine Shield.
Okay.
If it had Divine Shield, so that first trade didn't have the possibility of killing them, of having a bad trade, losing a 7-cost minion to a 3-cost minion, I think it would be fine. That would be the one thing I would add to it to make this a good card. Other than that, I just don't think it's good.
Okay, now we're into the neutrals, and we have a neutral rare Two-Faced Investor. It's a 3 mana 2/4 minion. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. Has a 50% chance to increase the amount that it reduces the cost of a card. So the first time, it'll reduce the cost by 1, right? Or is it saying every time it has a chance to reduce it by 2?
At the end of your turn, you reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. There's
so
a
that's
50%.
that's guaranteed every turn.
No. There's a 50% chance to increase the cost by 1 instead of reducing.
Okay, that makes more
This is
sense.
a double. This is like Thaurissan with a bipolar Thaurissan. If he had bipolar disorder, this is Thaurissan. Sometimes a card goes down by 1, but sometimes it goes up by 1.
Yes. Okay.
So it's very inconsistent. I don't think it's worth playing, but you're going to have people play this to possibly reduce a combo down and win the game off an impossible OTK. I like that this card exists. It's fun.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up, we have Elwyn Bohr. This is an epic neutral beast. 1 mana 1/1. Death Rattle. If you had 7 Elwyn Bohrs die this game, equip a 15 attack, 3 durability Sword of 1,000 Truths.
And I forgot to put the Sword of 1,000 Truths in the slide. I'm sorry about that. But that is a 10 cost, not that it matters, 15 3-weapon that says, after your hero attacks, destroy your opponent's mana crystals.
Jeez.
All of them. They destroy all of them.
Oh my gosh.
So the lore on this is a kind of a call to the World of Warcraft South Park episode.
Yes.
Where they had to slaughter Elwyn Bohrs in Elwyn Forest to eventually level up, because if they left, they got killed by a PvP, a player killer.
Yeah.
And there was a item that was taken out of the game that was on a special flash drive that was prophesized by a guy in accounting that someday someone's going to need this that someone's going to arrive to be able to wield this powerful sword, and it had crazy attack and it cast mana burn on your opponent. So this is the equivalent of this in Hearthstone. So far, there are a lot of classes that could pull this off. I'm thinking Hunter. I'm thinking Rogue to make multiple copies.
Mm-hmm.
Priest kind of has that possibility with a little bit of variance. And maybe Druid with that 3-cost minion that makes a copy of any of the two mana or less minions that you play. So there are 4 classes right now. You're going to have people trying to pull off the Elwyn Bohr combo, the Sword of 1,000 Truths combo in all 10 classes. I know there's going to be people trying to do that. So I love that this card exists. I don't think it's going to be competitive, but it's going to be one of those. It's going to be all over Trollden, almost every Trollden episode.
Yeah.
Forever.
All right, and then the last card the last few cards we're going to talk about this week, they're all neutral legendaries. So first up, we have Varian, King of Stormwind. He's an 8-mana 7/7, Battle Cry, draw a rush minion to gain rush, and then it repeats the effect to draw a taunt minion to give him taunt, or draw a Divine Shield minion to give him Divine Shield. So, what do you think about this?
I think it's good. So it's 8 mana for 7/7 that can possibly trade and also have taunt on the board. And, Divine Shield means he's not going to be damaged anymore. But it also draws 3 cards. In the right deck that has a combination of Divine Shield, taunts, and rush minions, I think it's going to be really good. And I think Varian goes there. And he's kind of like Siamat.
Yeah.
Now, Siamat really only saw play in Highlander decks, and we don't have any Highlander decks right now. But maybe if there's a deck that has to have limited restrictions on what you put in the deck, like maybe you specifically want beasts or different types of minions, maybe Varian takes up one slot to kind of give you that refill as well as board clear. Now, against a wide board, he's not very good, but against a tall board, he's probably really good.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's solid.
Okay. Then Tamsin and Cariel better look out, because Daddy's home. We've got Cornelius Rome, 6 mana 4/5 at the start and end of each player's turn. Draw a card.
This is Tammy and Carrie's dad, and they hate it when he calls them Tammy and Carrie. This is a good card.
Yeah.
So, kind of the static stats for a 4/5 minion, just a non-typed 4/5 minion is 4 mana. So for the 2 extra mana, you get a guaranteed 2 cards drawn.
Because you're going to draw a card at the end of your turn and a card at the start of your opponent's turn.
And if your opponent chooses not to kill it or can't kill it, which I can't imagine they wouldn't be able to, but if they're aggro and they just decide to ship face, you're going to draw another card at the end of their turn and another card at the beginning of your turn. So he's going to net a total of 4 cards before your next turn. And then if you don't trade him, you'll get 2 more cards.
Yeah, so you could fatigue yourself really easily with this card.
It's like Alaneth in a minion.
Yeah.
So I don't think this goes in a control style deck because you're going to push yourself into fatigue. I don't think a lot of people are saying put it as a top end in an aggressive deck, and I don't think that goes well. I think it goes in like a mid-range tempo deck that you need to refill
Okay.
from all the value you're putting out. Maybe you're shipping damage face. I don't know.
Yeah. And then last but not least this week, we have Auctioneer Jackson. She's a 2-mana 2/3. Whenever you trade, discover a card from your deck to draw instead.
So it turns every trade into tracking.
Yes, it turns every tradable card into tracking.
Because remember, regardless of the cost of the tradable card, it only costs 1 mana to trade it. So at 2 mana, that gives you so much to do.
Yeah.
You could trade a 5 or 6 cost card early and have a higher variance of getting something you'll need.
Yeah.
I like Auctioneer Jackson. Now, mind you, Auctioneer Jackson is probably only useful if you have at least, I'd say, a minimum of 4 tradable cards. You probably want to have 6 to 8 in your deck. Now, will a deck want that many tradable cards? I don't know. I wouldn't want to put Jackson in my deck if I only had like 2 tradable cards.
Okay.
So it is a deck building kind of challenge, but she's good.
Yeah, she is. All right, so that's going to do it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let us know your thoughts on the cards that we talked about this week. Not just Provoke, but what was your favorite card? What are you looking forward to playing with the most? We'd love to hear from you guys. You can hit us up on our Twitter at HeroPower_cast. Or if you are in our Discord, which is our patron-only Discord, which you can be a member of for as little as $1 a month, head on over to patreon.com/HeroPower and let us know. We would love to hear from you guys. So with that said, if you have any questions or comments, please send us an email at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already. And until next week,
don't forget to use your hero power to summon 2 3/3 dudes with Divine Shield. Oh my god. That's going to be awesome.
Just sounds disgusting.